SportsCenter, Dodgers pitcher Julio Urias was arrested Monday night on suspicion of domestic violence, a misdemeanor, after an altercation with a woman at an area shopping center. The 22-year-old spent the night in jail and was released this morning after posting $20,000 bail. The lefty 2-2 this season with a 3.18 ERA. All right, let's show the map. Here's what's happening tonight. I'll take East, Kerry gets West. We start with the hockey. Eastern Conference Finals. The Bruins have been dominating this series over the Canes. They won the first two. They've outscored Carolina by 11-4 aggregate in those two games. So the Canes better get busy in a hurry. That one's 8 Eastern.
I like the way you summarized that. Next up, we got some baseball West Coast, David. So I'm going again here. Padres head to Dodger Stadium, open a 2-game series. So I need you to understand, Manny Machado heard me. I sent him a text, and he said, anything to help you beat David, since he said, what have you done for me lately?
Did he text
Folks,
you back,
really? Yeah, those are his exact words.
Yeah, I know you're an A-lister, and you're hanging out and texting with these famous people. Of course, our top story, the draft lottery, 8:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Who is going to get number one? That's his uni number, and that's going to be his draft pick number, Zion Williamson.
And according to David, that's a national holiday, folks. Finally,
Happy
Bay
Zion Day.
Happy Zion Day. Western Conference Finals Game 1, Blazers-Warriors. A battle between the brothers. Are you interested in seeing the brothers?
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
And Steph?
Yes.
Or the other brothers, Clay and Steph?
Interesting.
You see what I did there?
I did.
Thank you. I'm very cool. Here's Kirk Goldsberry on that.
Stephen Curry is the greatest three-point shooter of all time. But while he's very good everywhere beyond the arc, let me show you how Curry is even more dangerous from some spots than others. Let's start at the top of the arc. Curry only makes 38% of his threes up here, which is slightly above the league average, but also a relatively low percentage for the greatest shooter in the world. Remember, on these charts, red means good, white means average, and blue means bad, and more hexagons mean more shots. It's never a good idea to leave Curry open from three, but it's an especially bad idea in the corners. Check this out. Curry made 58% of his corner threes from the left side this season. That's just not fair. As we move to the wings, Curry's hexagons turn red because his shooting percentages skyrocket. Look at this area along the left wing. Curry made a ridiculous 49% of his threes here this season. Still, Curry is much more than just a three-point shooter. His two-point game has come a long way, especially in the paint. Here's where he's evolved into an above-average scorer, thanks to his blend of floaters, layups, and the occasional slam dunk. His abilities to score in the paint prevent defenses from overplaying his jumper. But despite those nice paint numbers, Curry's long-range shooting is his signature weapon. And if the Blazers are hoping to dethrone the champs, they must find ways to keep Curry cool from downtown.
How do you keep him cool? Well, we just saw how dangerous Steph is from distance, but three-point shooting is a family trait. Seth, the other brother, has been more accurate from three throughout his career, and his dad, their father, Dale, he ranks 34th in three-point field goal percentage. So what about this? Dell, not Dale. Let me just with the D-E, guys. Make sure I put that in there. Among players to attempt at least 300 threes, Steve Kerr, their coach, Steph's coach, is the most accurate in NBA history. This, my friend, is a riddle. Say that 15 times fast. Speaking of a riddle, I'll bring in my guy, Nick Friedel, heading into this series. Let's talk about it. Kevin Durant out for the first game, most likely going to miss 2. What are you hearing around the locker room in terms of his status?
Kerry, the players aren't expecting to have Kevin back anytime in the real near future. It was really interesting yesterday how Steve Kerr decided to answer that question about Kevin's availability. He wanted to remind everybody Kevin hadn't been able to get on the court at all. Everybody thought initially he had torn his Achilles, and then everybody thought, all right, he's coming back in a week. And the truth is, there's something there that is really still bothering him, and they're going to be very cautious in how they bring him back. So as far as the players are concerned, they're walking into this series believing they're not going to have him, at least for the first week or so, but they're hoping after he gets reevaluated on Thursday that he'll be ready to roll in a few days. But at this point, they're not expecting him on the floor at any point at Oracle or potentially even Game 3 in Portland.
Okay, so no KD, no problem, even though that's probably not the case. But what are you hearing from Golden State? What is their mindset? Has it changed going into the series without their leading scorer?
It's had to, because they love the fact that going into Game 6 in Houston, Kerry, they were the underdog. I mean, Vegas didn't think they could do it. A lot of people outside that locker room weren't sure if they could do it. And then they reminded everybody, hey, we still have Steph Curry, and we still have Klay Thompson, and Andre Iguodala and Draymond are healthy, so everybody's in a really good mind frame going in. The key here is this. They know how talented and dangerous Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are. But Iguodala and Klay Thompson are healthy, and so they're going to introduce those guys to the Blazers' double trouble there and say, okay, go get them. And the Warriors know, with all their championship experience, they have that to rely upon. So sure, they're hoping that KD returns at some point in this series, but they know they have enough as they're constructed. The one team that gave them pause in the West was Houston. Portland doesn't cause that kind of fear starting the series.
All right, let's talk about Steph's other brother. They're not the one by blood. We're talking about Klay Thompson. He's obviously key to this series, looking to have a big game tonight. How's he preparing?
Kerry, in that Clippers series, he was talking about jumping in the Pacific Ocean to clear his head. He tells us yesterday, you know what I've been doing? I've been meditating and listening to classical music. So the next question is, okay, well, who you been listening to?
Right.
Clay just
he
goes,
didn't know.
Mozart, Beethoven. No, he knew. He knew exactly what he wanted to say. So the legend of Clay grows every day on and off the floor.
Is this some kind of like resume for a date? He likes to go to the ocean and have a view, and then Mozart and Beethoven. Meanwhile, Nick Friedel, thank you so much for joining us here on Coast to Coast. Tonight, folks, it's a big night for the NBA on ESPN, and it starts with Countdown at 7 p.m. Eastern. Then it's The Jump from Chicago, and then we'll have, guess what? It's the NBA Draft Lottery. Are you ready? It's a holiday, according to David Lloyd. So much going on. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals. Just leave your TV on ESPN all night. There you go. Done. That is it. David.
Unbelievable! Are you kidding me? It might be the play of the year. Oh my goodness! Look out! Three-quarter court, gone! Oh my! SportsCenter top 10.